clothes on this time, sorry.
You're welcome for that too, I'm just saying.
I kind of stalk him a lot, as do most of you. I saw his Michael Stokes picture in December a couple of years ago. And he was gracious enough to agree to come to this evening and just really make it a spectacular event. So you will help me welcome BTUrruela.
So first off, a big, huge thank you to Amy and Lisa. This event is spectacular. It's the first day. And it's not easy standing up here and bearing your soul to everyone, especially your peers. So I appreciate you guys having me here, allowing me to tell my story, and also giving me a massive round of applause when it's over. October 22nd, 2006. That date has meant a lot of things to me over the last 10 years. It started out as heartbreak and loss, complete devastation. It led to questions of why me, and more often than not, in respect to my fallen comrade, why not me instead? Eventually, it became what it is today, a symbol of my rebirth. This mic is killing me. A tragic day that now represents the long, hard road I've traveled to get here, and emphasizes my need, everyone's need, to live out each day to the fullest, to embrace the unexpected, to take chances regardless of fear or trepidation. Much like the evolution of my life post-injury, my life as a whole has taken on many changes over the years. Changes I never expected. Changes brought on by a relentless pursuit of happiness, a solid support system, and a desire to do more and to be more. I most recently got a tattoo of 3 roses, which represent this life's evolution. On my wrist there's a wilted, blackened rose, representing my childhood and the pain and anguish I endured throughout. On my forearm there's a rose mid-bloom, representing my resurgence through the Army and my first taste of true happiness in life, my first taste of what family truly means. Finally, on my bicep, there's a rose full bloom, vibrant and alive. This represents the man I am now, whole, happy, healthy, and prosperous. Finally, these tattoos are set permanently in my skin as a reminder of how far I've come, and a reminder of to never look back, and to always appreciate this broken, beautiful road that led me here. I could pinpoint for you each moment of happiness throughout my childhood and teenage years because they were so few and far between. My dad and mom were divorced before I was 1. In the ensuing legal battle, my brother and I were sent to live with my mom. 4 years later, a potential love interest drew my mom to Wisconsin, which left my brother and I with my dad, stepmom, stepbrother, and sister. My dad and stepmom worked long hours, and we kids had free reign of the house, creating an unhealthy and dangerous environment. For 4 years, me, my older brother, and my younger sister were molested by a family member. I was 4 years old when it started. I don't remember all of it, but I remember enough. It stuck with me for the rest of my life. I blamed myself. I always felt like less of a man. I felt worthless. It'd be another 20 years before I feel I fully dealt with all of it. My brother and I eventually left that home and went to live with my mom again, who had moved back to Missouri a couple years prior and married. It was not a happy home. For years, until I got big enough to defend myself, my mom and stepdad would beat the shit out of me. My brother too. Fists, belts, wooden hangers, you name it. My stepdad used them all. Though she often hit us as well, my mom's methods were more psychologically driven. One example that has always stood out in my mind was when I was a rambunctious 10-year-old. Having annoyed my mom sufficiently for the day, she sent me out in the hall of our apartment complex as a sort of timeout. When I was being too loud out there, she calmly ordered me inside to the bathroom and told me to fill the sink up. Once it was full, before I could realize what the purpose of filling it actually was, she grabbed me by the nape of my neck and shoved my head underwater. I remember thrashing violently, knocking everything off the counter. I didn't stop fighting until I just couldn't move anymore, until I felt I couldn't hold my breath any longer. And then she finally let me up, handed me a towel, and walked out. At that point in my life, where all trust and faith in my mother evaporated, never to return again. At 16, I had had enough. I was kicked out of the house, but I was desperate to leave anyways. I went from friend's couch to friend's couch until I finally graduated high school. I never anticipated graduating. I didn't even really give a shit about it at the time, or so I thought. I didn't have the best of grades, but I got my high school diploma, and it was no easy feat. It was in the 2 years I spent struggling to complete high school that the military became an almost certainty. I'd always wanted to join, always wanted to serve and fight. I remember watching Saving Private Ryan at 14, seeing those men charge the beaches of Normandy with complete disregard for their own safety, and just being completely blown away by their actions, and overtaken with a sense of duty and service that would never leave me. At 18, with a penchant for trouble, no suitable college option, and a strong desire to serve, I joined the U.S. Army Infantry in August 2004. It was everything I could have imagined. Upon graduating basic training, I joined my new duty station, 1st Armored Division in Baden, Germany. After a year of training up and readying ourselves for combat, we deployed to Baghdad in 2005. I've made bonds like never before. My life had purpose and meaning. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And then came October 22nd, 2006. But before I go into that, let me tell you a little bit about Major David Gladney Taylor. Major Taylor took over our unit halfway through the deployment, leaving a comfy job in the green zone to serve with our infantry unit. Soldiering was in Dave's blood. His father served 2 years of duty in Vietnam. His grandfather served in World War II, and his great-grandfather fought in World War I. He was born on a base and spent his entire life moving from base to base. David wasn't just your average officer. While most tend to use privates for whatever they need, no matter how minute, Major Taylor was never like that. He always led from the front. He always put his soldiers first. The plan was to take a 4-vehicle convoy north for a meeting, and then to take the incoming major around for a guided tour to get to know the area of operations. Even though I suggested that day that he may want to ride another vehicle to lessen the odds of being hit first in line for any roadside bombs, he refused. He was not putting anyone in harm's way ahead of himself. That's just the way he was. So 1 year after arriving in Baghdad, 2 days before we were set to go home, on October 22nd, 2006, our Humvee was hit by 2 roadside bombs. The Army stated that the explosive had been buried in the road probably within the hour. It would be the size of a paint can. Artillery rounds are stuffed inside the paint can and it's covered with a contact lens-shaped piece of copper. When it gets detonated, the copper turns molten and eats straight through the vehicle. They're specifically designed to penetrate armored vehicles. The theory was that a man spotted our convoy on approach and activated the bomb after the convoy moved past him. He could have done it with a garage door opener, or maybe a cell phone. Any common household device could be transformed into a trigger. The bombs tore through the right side of my vehicle. I looked down and see a chunk of my flesh missing from my thigh. I didn't know it then, but my femoral artery had been severed. My gunner lost both of his legs. Another soldier with us lost a leg above the knee. The other major with us that day was injured severely in both his arms and legs. Medics were almost immediately at the Humvee's doors. Helicopters were screaming overhead. It was all fury and commotion, except in the seat where Major Taylor was. From the moment I looked across the vehicle at him, I knew he was gone. I was shipped from Baghdad to Landstuhl, Germany, and then finally to Wolf Reed Army Medical Center in D.C. Back in Florida, Major David Taylor's body was returned to his wife, Michelle, and infant son, Jake, who he forever kissed goodbye at 2 weeks old. On October 31st, 2006, 9 days after getting blown up, my femoral artery burst from my hospital bed. Blood poured from my wounds. my eyes flitted helplessly across the room, begging the nurses for help. They tried their best to control the bleeding, and I begged for them to not let me die. My heart stopped twice over the course of a 14-hour surgery. It was the scariest moment of my life. They eventually saved my life, but my leg was in far worse condition than it had started. I fought for 2 years and 37 surgeries to get some sort of normalcy out of my leg, or out of what was left of it, but my efforts were futile. At 22 years of age, the doctors and I made a decision to amputate. It was quite the decision to face as a young man. But of all 37 surgeries I endured, it's the only one I came out of with a smile on my face, as if a weight had been lifted. I was awarded the Purple Heart for my combat injuries, but at the time, I didn't care. It didn't mean shit to me. My life as I knew it was ripped from me. Now I'd spent almost 6 years trying to piece it all back together. Fought for 2 more years through 4 to 5 hours of physical therapy, 5 days a week, to get adapted to my new prosthetic. And I medically retired from the Army in February 2011. I worked tirelessly to regain some sort of normalcy, and eventually I found myself in great physical shape. I felt ready to take on the world. I wasn't. In all my years of focusing on the physical injuries, I managed to ignore the psychological effects of war. I searched everywhere I could for help. I lived in an area that lacked the proper resources. The nearest Veterans Affairs hospital is 45 minutes away. Without the tools I needed to get help, their psychologists made me feel worthless for turning to drugs and alcohol, like an iota of care or concern for what I had been through, which led me to self-medication in the first place. I was completely and utterly alone. I didn't have the strength to continue fighting. I just wanted the pain to stop. I moved to Florida hoping for a fresh start. In a sense, I ran from my problems, and they inevitably followed me there. I was angry at the system. I was desperate for help that I couldn't get. I didn't want to die, but I just didn't have the strength to continue fighting. I just wanted the pain to stop. I planned my suicide for October 22nd, 2011, 5-year anniversary of my injury. I decided I would jump off the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. I began writing my goodbyes. It was unnerving for someone who had fought for so long to end up in a place of complete desperation, of complete withdrawal. I wanted to live. I just desperately needed to feel better. I desperately needed someone to care. In the end, hitting rock bottom is what saved me. I crumpled up my goodbye letters, and I decided to fight. The system had failed me, and it was my desire to do everything within my power to ensure other veterans didn't have the same fight that I went through. I didn't want them to battle it on their own. That's when VETSports was born. Along with 2 other combat wounded veterans who had overcome their own injuries, I founded VETSports to be a support system within communities where veterans were transitioning from military life. There are 2 pillars to the VETSports mission: community service, or community involvement, and team sports. Through our own rehabilitation, we discovered the power of team sports and physical and psychological rehabilitation. Not only did they provide us with the opportunity to bond with our fellow veterans, to work together as a team again, and to progress our physical abilities, they also broke down barriers to communication. They allowed us to find comfort in sharing our stories with others who had been through similar experiences. Through communication came healing. The community involvement aspect came to fruition shortly after we founded VETSports, when we discovered that by helping our fellow veterans, we ourselves began to heal just a little bit more. We were able to take the focus off of our own injuries and psychological trauma, and it reminded us that we were not alone in this fight, that there were others out there who were suffering too, often more so than ourselves. Founding VETSports and seeing significant changes in other veterans' lives was a rebirth for me, one that would only get better. With a new life emerging for me and a happier existence on my horizon, I also began to heal some of the relationships in my family that had been broken. And sometimes healing those relationships involves severing the toxic ones for good. It was at this time, 3 years ago, that I ceased all communication with my mom and stepdad, completely. I started building a stronger relationship with my father and forging a new connection with my brother who I hadn't seen in 10 years. And I also forged a new relationship with someone tremendously special to me, Major David Taylor's widow, Michelle. Since David died, Michelle had returned to work as a lawyer and begun what seemed like an inconceivable challenge of raising Jake alone. After I moved to Tampa, I found that unbeknownst to me, her and Jake lived just 2 blocks behind me. She began inviting me to family gatherings and Jake's Little League games. After initial difficulty in seeing so much of David in him, I began taking her up on her invitations more and more. And now, it is a regular occurrence for me to stop by and play ball, shoot Nerf guns, or dress up for Halloween. I get to be a big kid with Jake, and it means everything. Michelle and Jake are without a doubt a part of my family, and I feel so blessed that they welcome me into their own. It makes missing David just a little bit easier when I can see this incredible kid he helped create right before my eyes. So with the newfound support of my family and friends, and my new family of veterans through VETSports, life just continued to deliver amazing opportunities for me. After receiving an invite to do a veteran awareness photo shoot with photographer Michael Stokes, have you guys ever heard of him?
No.
I jumped at the chance. I flew to LA in December of 2014. It's something I never in my life thought I would do. I was scared, doubtful, and nervous. But I pushed all that aside and I dove right in. It was one of the best weekends of my life, and to be a part of this creative process was a dream come true. From there, things got completely crazy. I received opportunities I never thought I would. I posed for romance covers, traveled the country meeting hundreds of dear supporters, and eventually I got an invitation to co-write my own romance novel. Writing wasn't new to me. I had always been a writer. It was something I grew up loving and dreaming about. I can remember one specific story in 5th grade when we were supposed to write a 3-page Halloween story, and I turned in a 29-page rewriting of waxwork. It was always in my blood. I just never thought it would happen. I just never thought anyone would ever want to read my work. I was amazed to see that I was wrong. Today, VETSports continues to grow. Since 2012, VETSports has helped several thousand veterans transition the right way. Our warrior athletes have served their community, built lifelong relationships, and helped numerous other organizations that serve disabled veterans, or disabled children. They have taken back their lives and they are the backbone of our organization. We now have 8 chapters nationwide. My life is everything I could have ever dreamed it would be. And I would all do one thing: never giving up. Even when life got hard, even when the odds seemed stacked against me, I kept pushing forward. I chose to be happy and to not stop fighting until I captured it. I am now the me I was always meant to be, and I'll never forget the journey it took me to get here. Life will bring you challenges. Some of them will seem unbearable. Some you think might just kill you, but they won't. Challenges are there to test us, to strengthen us. Keep your head down, your spirits up, and fight relentlessly. Thank you all for your tremendous support, for what you're doing for VETSports, and for giving your time. Thank you.